China is such an enigma because here you kind of have a controlled economy and a government, and you have blockchain that's so fundamentally self-sovereign, decentralized technology that can be global and be borderless and be immutable. If you're the new government official and you want to change the record, you can't do that anymore. So why is China so engaged in this, and will it really work out? Every 5 years, the Chinese government puts together a 5-year economic plan, and the government has actually mentioned explicitly blockchain initiatives need to be a big part of the plan. And so if you look back at the proliferation of the internet, most of those great companies that were built using internet businesses were built in the US. So they see this and they see all this innovation happening, and they want to make sure that they don't miss the boat this time. So they want to make sure that their companies are the ones doing all the innovation in China. As you look at China as a whole, and you kind of look at the entire industry and the supply chain and the ecosystem and kind of their major commerce, there's a lot of exporting. That's a wonderful use case for blockchain. If the supply chain can be placed on a blockchain, then as soon as the widget gets manufactured at the factory and hops on a truck, a GPS tracker can notify via the blockchain the next processor, and a payment can be made immediately via smart contracts. No back office sending an invoice that 30 days later shows up in some other warehouse. Blockchain brings all of that provenance where it can't be manipulated. Everyone has access to the same records and they see exactly who owns it. The banking system obviously has a huge opportunity here to either go out of business or reinvent these businesses and create a new innovation in the system. So China is very well positioned to take advantage of the payments system. You have companies like Alibaba and Tencent and WeChat that have already built in mobile-to-mobile payments. And so China has built in an electronic infrastructure to handle payments across different platforms. They're just doing it with companies at central authorities. If they could just apply that same concept to a blockchain, where say the Chinese own currency is done on a blockchain, harnessing and utilizing that blockchain technology that could never be hacked or manipulated or transmuted in any different way. We see this as two ways to play this market. You can play it in a global sense, overall global portfolio of stocks based on blockchain technology, or someone could invest in an index that was just based on China and the Chinese blockchain companies. They have a significant commitment to blockchain, not only investing at the government level in their own efficiencies and creating their own infrastructure, but also investing in blockchain initiatives, building out business parks, so innovation labs. The real risk when you think about China, it is at the end of the day an emerging market. It's a controlled economy, and the government has an awful lot to do with the success or failure of certain businesses. And right now we have the US and China in potential trade war, and that causes a significant amount of volatility for the equity investor who's just thinking about making a solid purchase. I think that those are short-term risks, and by short-term I mean they play out over 1 to 2 years, maybe even less. But this blockchain innovation is like a 15-year cycle, so you got to be in and you got to be invested, and you're willing to accept those risks in order to kind of embrace it.